Alright, what's going on everybody? This is Shok, and before I get into this, I just want to shout out everyone who was in my live stream, was it yesterday or the day before? Yeah, fuck you guys, because you guys said I would not put up a video this week, and I did. Exposed. But obviously today I want to talk about the NX news that has, well, can't really call it news because it's not confirmed, of course, it's still all rumors or whatnot. But to be fair, the reason why this stuff is getting so much traction is because unlike all this other stuff that we've heard thus far, these rumors, these reports, these leaks are actually coming from actual, gaming sites. This ain't no Emily Rogers. This isn't no what's that guy's name? 10K. No random dudes on NeoGAF, anything like that. These are the major gaming publications coming out and giving this information. So that's why this is a little bit more serious, than these other reports and rumors. If you guys haven't heard what the news is so far, basically the NX is going to be a hybrid, and it's going to be this portable handheld, kind of more specifically that has a docking station that you can plug into, and then that docking station, I guess, runs a HDMI cable, and has a battery in it or something like that. And it runs the HDMI cable to the TV, so you can pretty much, dock it and play your games on the TV. When you're going to go somewhere, you just take the thing off the dock and you just go and you play. So pretty much a console handheld hybrid. So what are my thoughts on all this? If this news were to be true, a lot of mixed feelings, people. A lot of mixed feelings. A lot of it is actually good. I would say there's actually a lot more good things about this rumor than there is bad. I will say that. As a matter of fact, there's only one bad thing, well, maybe two, but mostly one bad thing I could really think of regarding this, and that's the fact that if this rumor is true, and especially the whole thing about the Tegra 1 chip, although they said that it's not confirmed if it is the Tegra 1, that's just what they're assuming, but it could be the Tegra 2 if Nintendo chooses that. But if it's the Tegra 1 chip, that pretty much confirms that this thing is not going to have any third-party support. I mean, of course, the indie games are going to be on there. That's a given. Some Japanese developers, of course, will be on that, because they don't really make as high-end, bleeding-edge games like a lot of Western developers do, with a very few exceptions like, Square Enix and, Konami, a couple studios like that. But as far as, not that I care about the series, but, the Assassin's Creeds and, the Battlefields and, all that type of stuff, I just can't see the NX getting these types of games if it's going to be running on a mobile processor like that. You see what I mean? So basically, that's the biggest problem I see here. Pretty much the only big problem is the fact that this thing is not going to have all the major modern current games coming out on it if it is going to be running on the Tegra 1 chip, and if it is going to be mobile based. The second bad thing I would say is the price, although honestly, I don't really care about the price of a console. Don't get me wrong. I don't want any console to be $600, $700. But the thing about the price of a console is it's a payment that you only have to do once. You know what I mean? A lot of people get caught up in, how much a console costs. But if you just think about it, hey, it's just a payment that you have to do only one time. Once you pay it, bam, that's it. It's not like a PC where you keep upgrading it and things like that. You drop that one-time payment and you have the console for life. And it works and it runs everything that will be coming out if developers choose to make games on that platform. Now that's the bad, but let's get into the good. And like I said, there's actually a lot of more good things than there are bad regarding this thing. One, in this rumor, they said that it is going to use cartridges. At this point, I wouldn't even say that's a rumor, because there hasn't been any rumor whatsoever that has even remotely contradicted, that whole report in the first place. Every rumor and report we've seen regarding this thing have said all universally, unanimously, like, yeah, it's going to run on cartridges. Now, this is great because, cartridges means, no load times. You don't have to worry about, the disc and, the system trying to, skip the disc, try to find certain spots and stuff like that. It's pretty much going to be quicker games, quicker loading times. It's going to be really beneficial for, like, big open world games and stuff like that. It's going to be awesome. Another good thing about it is, the whole portability factor, in general, although it is a double-edged sword for the bad reason that I listed previously, but still being able to play your games on the go, your console games and then bring it right back home and resume where you left off when you're out. That is pretty awesome. Now, I will say this though. One thing that does kind of bother me with this whole hybrid thing, and of course I thought about this before, and can't remember the exact video because you guys know I haven't been on YouTube in a very long time, so I wouldn't be able to know the exact video right now. But I remember a long time ago when the first hybrid console stuff started coming out, I was like, yeah, I think it's pretty much confirmed at this point that it's going to be a console hybrid, handheld hybrid based off of everything Nintendo has done in these reports. But while that does sound cool, one thing that does bother me about this is that it could mean that this system would be expensive, but also lower spec at the same time, because they have to sacrifice, the cost of the system. They have to sacrifice a lot of the cost and a lot of the specs to make sure they could jam all this technology in a small form factor in the first place, right? That's where it feels much more of the streamlined traditional home console. They have all the size in the world that they need, so that is a problem there. But yeah, I do like the whole cartridges thing. I do like the portability, being able to take it out and play it, whatever. And another good thing about it is the whole is the fact that and I talked about this before in previous videos. If you guys remember, Nintendo combined their handheld and their console. I can't speak right now. Their console development teams actually combined them under one roof or whatever, so they could work more closely. And also, Iwata always talked about how sometimes it's hard for them to get software for their console because the developers are busy making their handheld games. And this is one of the reasons why they brought their handheld and their console development studios together under one roof. So basically what Nintendo's going to do here, they pretty much confirmed this a long time ago without actually just flat out saying it. But basically what they want to do is they want to combine the console and the handheld libraries. And that's exactly what they're doing here. So that's the third and probably the best part about this news. Because even if, and I'm not saying this is okay, don't get me wrong, they need the fucking third-party support. Plain and simple. You should be able to buy one system and be able to play the latest games on that system, point blank, period. There's no excuse. Nobody should ever think that not having the third-party support is not a problem, because it is. It's a problem, don't get me wrong, but I will say this. With that being said, even if they get none of that Western third-party support, the NX will still be a 50 times better Nintendo machine than the Wii U ever was. Reason being is because it's going to get all those games that would be just handheld, and they're going to be just pretty much NX games. So even if the NX doesn't get a lick of third-party support, the droughts still aren't going to be that bad, and they're going to be filled in a lot. Because if you were to take the Wii U and you were to take the 3DS library and kind of overlap them, a lot of the 3DS games could have held us over during all those Wii U droughts, you know what I'm saying? So just combine the libraries. Think about the quantity of titles that Nintendo and other developers make too, because their handhelds get a lot of third-party support actually. But if you're to combine all the games that Nintendo and third parties have made for 3DS, and just imagine all those games, that large quantity being put over to their home console, that's actually a lot of games. Again, still not all that big third-party support that they need to have, but it will still make things feel, like I said, 50 times better than it ever was with the Wii U. And it just kind of ties in with what I've been saying this whole time about, despite the fact that I've just been completely up Nintendo's ass for the last, how long has it been? 5 years? 4 years? 4 years, yeah, 4 years. One thing I've been saying is that the NX can't be worse than the Wii U. So it's like I really can't be all, extra pessimistic about it or anything like that, because the Wii U was rock bottom, and there's no way it's going to get worse from here on out. There's no way. And like I said, for the reason I just stated, I just talked about, I just discussed, because the handheld games are now going to be going over to the console. They're pretty much combined, so we're going to get more, we're going to get more Nintendo games on what is technically a console. So, like I said, a lot of good things coming out of this, and I am mostly optimistic about this system. The only thing that bothers me is the actual power of the system, and the fact that it won't have third-party support. But not only that, but also, guys, you got to remember, even for Nintendo's own studios, their hardware is underpowered for what they want to do. Nintendo's own in-house studios, the hardware holds them back as well. If you play Xenoblade Chronicles X, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? that game would have been. I can't even imagine what that game would have looked like if it wasn't on outdated hardware. That game would have been incredible. Lots of Nintendo first party titles, they lack anti-aliasing and a bunch of other stuff. They have muddy textures here and there, and that's stuff that the hardware is doing. That's the hardware holding them back. Now, of course, Nintendo makes some great games as well. I'm not saying they don't. No one will ever say 3D World looked amazing. Pikmin 3, although it was started off as a Wii game, that game looked freaking amazing. Like all the leaves and the foliage and all that looked incredible. But there's tons of areas, there's tons of examples where it's like, okay, yeah, I could definitely see the hardware holding this back. And you could just tell that some of Nintendo's own in-house developers, not even talking about third parties, guys, because I know a lot of you guys are like, who cares about the third parties? Fuck the third parties. No, I'm talking about Nintendo developers. Even Nintendo developers could really use some stronger hardware from Nintendo. Their developers could use some help from who they belong to. So I'm just really, really concerned, spec-wise, about this thing. If it is using a Tegra 1 chip, that's pretty much going to put it like slightly weaker than the Xbox One. And in 2017, we don't need a system that is slightly weaker than the Xbox One, which is a system that came out in 2013. So 4 years later, you're going to give us a system that could be weaker than one that launched, 4 years earlier. That's unacceptable, and I really hope they don't go down this path with the Tegra 1 chip. Like I said, I think the hybrid idea is really cool. The only thing is that I wish it felt more like a console that has a portable factor rather than a portable that has a home console factor. You see what I mean? Because based off these details, it really feels like this is mainly and mostly a handheld that could just dock, and use the HDMI cord to play on your TV, rather than a home console that has a part that you can break off and take and play with you. You see what I mean? There's a difference there. It feels more like a portable machine more than an actual home console. But hopefully, regarding like the specs and just the focus of the form factor, because like I said, it feels definitely a lot more handheld focused than console focused like we were hoping it would be. But hopefully that it's wrong in that regard on where the focus is. I'm down for the whole hybrid thing as long as it doesn't mean that we get something that's weaker than the Xbox One. I'm not even needing or wanting, I would like something stronger than the PS4 or whatever, but I don't need that personally. But it just needs to be on par with the PS4. No, even on par with the Xbox One, and it's like, not good enough, because even the Xbox One is still doing, these 900p games, and stuff like that. The Xbox One still can't do 1080p 60 frames for a lot of games. It's ridiculous. So this thing needs to be on par with the PS4. Hopefully it'll be using the Tegra 2 chip, and that'll resolve the issue. Another possible solution to this is the supplemental computing device that was also been rumored, and we've seen patents of this and stuff like this. And this could very well be true, because this supplemental computing device is something that Nintendo actually went to court for, and they actually fought for it. So it when someone does that, it definitely makes it seem like, okay, this is a real thing they're actively pursuing and they're trying to do. Like, this is something real. You see what I mean? And if you guys don't know what that whole patent thing is about, basically Nintendo made a patent for a supplemental computing device. It is what it sounds like. It's pretty much something else you plug into the main console, and it helps give it some processing power. So all of my issues, all of my worries regarding the system will go out the window if these computing devices are true. If I can buy a $150, even $200 box, whatever, in order to play all the modern, newest third-party games on my NX, I'm down for that. I'm down for that. If you sell the handheld thing or whatever for $250, and then you do $150 for the supplemental computing device, hey, that's roughly as much as people would normally pay for a console anyways. That's $400. So I'm down for that. That'd be cool. If there is no supplemental computing device, and if it does end up using a Tegra 1, then Nintendo still hasn't learned. This system still isn't going to sell that much. It isn't. It needs the third-party support. But despite the fact, and again, I'm not trying to, of course, I'm not trying to damage control or anything like that. But despite the fact, even if it didn't get that third-party support, like I said, it'll still be a much better Nintendo machine than the Wii U ever was, because we're going to have that combined console and handheld development, that library. And there's going to be tons of good Nintendo content on there, as well as third-party games that would otherwise go swiftly to the handheld. We would have those on the NX as well. So it still wouldn't be the worst thing ever, but Nintendo should still definitely do whatever they can to get that third-party support on board. So those are my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all later.